Is there any public comments? Seeing none, our next agenda item is for the food service provider. And would you like to give a little background on that?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
Mhm.
Sorry. But I wanted to give just a background on what led us to going through this process. So in March, we had a state auditor from the DOE come and do an audit. They do it every couple of years, and it's very routine. And as most of you know, when an auditor comes, they're going to find something. And so my rule always is whatever they find, we're going to correct it, and we're never going to have a repeat finding. Those are my two goals whenever we have an auditor, whether it be a financial audit um, or um, or a cafeteria audit. So they did have quite a few findings, and they gave us 30 days from when they made the report official, which they didn't make the report official until close to 30 days after having done it. So we had about a 60-day window, and the corrective actions that were outlined were extensive. And when the deadline came up, the day before the deadline, only a couple had been addressed, and which is not what we need or want. And unfortunately, in all of the audits across the state in cafeterias, some of them come up with fines based on certain issues, and Bloomfield had the largest fine in the state this year. So those are not things that we want to have happen. And so I will tell you, I started about 2.5 years ago, as you guys know, and with our food service director, multiple times over the 2.5 years, I offered professional development. I offered to pay to have a mentor. I offered to have a retiree from another district come and help um, in different areas. But until this report came, I didn't know or have an understanding of where the shortfalls really were. And so all of that background led to um, needing to get a consultant to come in. So this summer, I worked a lot of hours with a consultant, and the consultant worked even more hours to address the corrective actions. Some of our food service employees had to come in, rewrite a menu, for example, because one of the corrective actions was we didn't have the grain portion was too small. And so trying to rewrite menus to get them compliant with the state. So we had several compliance issues with trainings, with like civil rights trainings that weren't completed by a couple employees. Some of the other ones where the fine came in was the free and reduced student population. The free and reduced documentation was not being done correctly. Therefore, we couldn't technically receive the funding for the free and reduced, which meant they went back and removed the free lunches we gave away and the reduced lunches because we didn't have the proper documentation. So we've made some changes and adjustments, and in that process, with the amount of corrective actions, one option was to look for a food management vendor. And looking midsummer for somebody to start at the beginning of the school year, I was skeptical on if we would even have a vendor that would be interested in that type of turnaround. Also, I love being a small rural school, but not every company loves being working in a small rural school, because how much money are they actually going to be able to make? Is it going to be beneficial for their business plan? I was thoroughly impressed that we had 3 vendors bid on this process. And the bids came in, um, really great bids. And so throughout this process, I'll also add that the DOE was guiding each step. There's timelines that have to be met. There's legal standards and requirements that have to be met when we're doing a request for proposal and receiving bids. And so even when we opened the sealed bids last Friday, somebody from the DOE was on virtually live watching us open those bid packets and confirming that we received all of it and from so that he could document it. Then we sent the each of the bid packets electronically to the to that individual at the state, and on Friday he reviewed all 3 to make sure that they would meet state requirements for a food management vendor managing school food service. And in that same time, Michelle Emmons, who's going to be our school food authority, SFA requirement, she, myself, and the consultant that we had, who's gone through this process before, the 3 of us each scored a rubric, the same rubric, for all 3 companies. And all 3 of us, while our scores were different, had the same rankings. The number 1 company, number 2 company, number 3 was the same across the board. All 3 of us had Chartwell scoring the highest. So as part of that process, we're at this point where I'm putting the recommendation in front of the school board to contract with Chartwells for the 2025 and 2026 school year, with the potential to extend the contract at a later date. And so I just wanted to give some background as to why we got where we're at, the process that we had to go through, the oversight that the state has had, and so that's where we're at now.
Yeah. Before we move on, while we're talking about the free and reduced lunch situation, could you talk for a minute about why other schools offer free meals across the board, but we don't? That's a question that a lot of people ask, and I don't think that everyone is fully available with the information as to why. Would you care to talk on that for just a second, just so maybe people get a better understanding?
So I will. Give me 1 second because I have.
No, now.
So that's actually, you're stealing some of my thunder for my coffee chat tomorrow.
Oh.
So I am ready to answer it, but I just had to pull up what.
So if you want to answer,
Yeah.
come to the coffee talk.
Okay, so the short answer is we don't meet the federal threshold for a program under the CEP, which is Community Eligibility Provision. So to qualify for universal free meals, a school needs to meet a minimum percentage, which is about 18 to 19% higher than what we've had of students that are directly certified for free meals. So like based on SNAP or other aid that they might have. So that's the direct certification has to be around 62.5%. Our total free and reduced population, including those that aren't direct certified, has been the past few years around 44 to 45. So we aren't even close to that threshold. So it's not that we're not applying for it, it's that we're not eligible. But the students that are in families that qualify for free and reduced, we continue to serve them, at those prices. So it is a good question. It'll come up on the virtual coffee chat tomorrow. So, yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
So just to be clear, we are retaining with the personnel realignment within the school, we're retaining the free and reduced piece of it, thanks to the elementary office. And then we are retaining, thanks to Michelle, the submitting the state claims in the state commodity survey. So what they're taking on for us is essentially procurement, meal planning, menu planning, and personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Chartwells is here if any of you've got any questions for them.
No.
Welcome.
We apologize.
The
We got-
camera's there, so you're not on the camera, but they're here.
We got caught upstairs, so
Yeah.
apologies. There's wet paint and stairwell.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No.
Anybody else have any
I
questions?
just had a question that I meant to ask earlier. Whenever we were talking about, like, if they call in sick, are they required to find their own replacement, or would that be the food service director's job? Who would take care of that?
That would be me.
Okay.
So if someone's out, they would let me know, and then I would try and get someone to come in or fill it myself if I need it.
So you're the food service director currently at Eastern Green, so we'd be splitting.
Correct.
Can you, I asked you this earlier, can you share an example of what, like, a menu would look like for the middle, high school, and then the elementary?
I'll pull it up now. The internet's not being friendly with me. I think.
You need Wi-Fi.
I'm really off my phone right now.
Do you have Wi-Fi?
Our new IT guy.
So, for example, first day of school, what we did was we used Eastern to start with because it's short turnaround. So I think the first day, being Wednesday, would be spaghetti on the main line with frozen carrots. And then for pizza, we'd have pepperoni, cheese, and a supreme sausage pizza. On the grill slide, we'd have regular chicken sandwich, spicy chicken, and then mixed fruit, apples, black beans, cauliflower, and then a romaine side salad for the extra fruit, vegetable, that type of stuff. And then obviously,
That would be for the junior, senior.
yeah,
high.
that's a junior,
That's what
senior
I
high
was
school.
Those are all the different choices. So there'd be there's homemade pizzas, so all those 3 pizza choices. And then on the main line, it's a spaghetti, meat, is there meat sauce? Yeah,
Spaghetti meat sauce, yep.
garlic bread, and roast carrots or?
Yes, roast carrots.
Okay. So and then at the elementary, what would the elementary menu be for the first day? They have multiple options.
They do. So the elementary, there's basically it's breakfast for lunch, so biscuits and gravy, tater tots. Then the other option would be a fun lunch. So the fun lunch would be graham crackers, yogurt, strawberry, banana, and then string cheese. And then if they didn't want that, there's also a garden salad option with croutons. And then for fruits, vegetables, there would be pears, a romaine side salad, cucumbers, and then the milk options.
So every day at the junior senior high, there's basically 3 stations. It's a create station, a grill station, and a pizza station. And those offerings will change throughout the week. The create will have those spaghetti and meatballs. They also have our Sono bar, which is our build your own taco bar and things like that. The grill will have those handheld things that you can pick and go fast. And then the pizzas are all homemade. And then, yeah, like you said, then the elementary schools, we will eventually get it where we're mirroring the elementary school main item with your create item from the high school. So if it's spaghetti and meatballs at the high school, they'll also get that at the elementary school. And then the elementary school will also have 2 cold options every day. So the fun lunches, that's what we call them, because kids love when you hear a fun lunch, it comes in a
Comes in a, it
Little
comes in
bags.
a, like a cartoon bag.
Right.
Right, so a graphic bag, and it's kind of like, it's just like a, you know, like a school lunch bag, and it's got nutrition education on it. And then the kids get to, like, some kids like it where it's all like dissected out, and that's what they like. And then there are other kids that like the option where the food is all, you know, like a spaghetti and meatball or a spaghetti and meat sauce, you know, dinner with garlic bread and vegetables. And so it's a more heartier option. And then we do, you know, different types of salads. So like a chef salad, a garden salad. We try to, you know, change that up. I think that given the transition is so quick, right? We have to get in here, and we want to see what your kids like. Your kids are going to be very different than other kids in different districts, and they have different wants and needs. And it's really important for us to collaborate as a partner to make sure that we're meeting the needs and the wants and likes of your kiddos.
So it's not, this menu's here for the rest of the school year. So we will continuously change. We'll continually ask for feedback, whether that's through parent surveys or principal surveys or student surveys. Student focus groups are really big. So we'll take kind of all, you know, give us 3 months to kind of get into a routine, get our people trained, you know, things like that. And then we can start, you know, fine tuning what it looks like for Bloomfield.
One of the things you'll see too is that the first 3 months is really about feeding your kids, getting the employees feeling confident and empowered with what they're doing. Then we want to start on the fun, like nutrition education stuff, and really introducing different things. So like we have a program called Global Eats, and that's where we kind of, it's like a passport for kiddos, and, you know, we'll feature different countries and meals from those countries on that day. Maybe not necessarily on the menu, maybe it's more just a sampling in the cafeteria, and then just teaching them some of the customs and cultures that go with those meals. So just giving kids kind of, what it's doing is it's connecting with what they're learning in geography or history or anything of that nature. So any which way we can kind of bring the education piece to the cafeteria is our main goal.
Where's your distribution coming from?
We prepare food on site.
Where's the ingredients coming from?
Where do you order the food from?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So because of compliance, right? So just know everything is Buy American, meaning that we are required by the USDA and the federal government. Everything we purchase is American products, whether it's paper supplies, chemicals, or, you know, fresh produce and so on and so forth. So did that answer your question?
No, not really.
I'm sorry.
What
Like
vendors?
Gordon Food
Like,
Survey.
oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So we use GFS, Piazza Produce, Prairie Farms.
Okay.
We'll partner with local farms if we can to do that.
So there is a farm to school program that we try to, you know, depending on what farms are in the area and who are on that same platform, we try to work that through the Department of Education. But any way we can use local, we try to do that.
And then how often is that stuff coming in? Like on
Weekly.
the produce and vegetables and fruits?
Weekly, we have potential twice weekly, depending on the need.
I mean, those are the vendors that we already use.
Yeah.
So they're already established delivery days and all
Yep.
that.
Any other questions or comments?
So what's the contract here? Like, what does it run? August 1st to when? Like, when will we vote on it again next year?
I'm looking at the contract now.
Usually it happens in
It's-
May. Sorry.
Yeah.
So in normal terms, it's July 1st through June 30th.
That's what-
Times
year.
your
Yep.
school year. And usually we'll take it back. Is it
So
April, May?
Yeah, so the Department of Ed is very specific. You usually start your renewal process. They'll come out in January or February, and they notify the district to let you know of the renewal process. Everything has to go through the school board. There's forms that we have to fill out, and then typically we bring it in front of the school board in April or May, or whenever the superintendent and the treasurer wish to do. But it's required to be signed and submitted to the state before the end of June.
Who assumes responsibility for the equipment? Like say a hood goes out on one of the ovens.
So all equipment is owned by the district.
Okay.
And so we would work through that with the district. If they would like us to bring a vendor in to service that, that's fine, we can do that. Or if there's a local vendor here in the community that they're currently using and they have a process, then we would follow that.
So I understand that, like, excuse me, like the things that the kids love, like the Texas Straw Hat, the taco meat, the chilies, you know, all those things are things that the kids like and want and line up for.
Familiar with?
Yeah.
Yes.
So those don't necessarily stay. Like our taco meat recipe is no more. Now we use the Nutri-Slice one. I mean, essentially.
So, yeah, so I think I understand what you're saying. So so when we come in, when she mentioned Nutri-Slice, Nutri-Slice is our menu platform, and it's where families can go. It's a link, and we'll put it on the school website, and families have access to our menus, and they can click on that. On there, in addition to that, you will also see pictures of the food, and you'll also see the nutritional information. So again, if you have a child with a special dietary need, they can be on that. So with that being said, it's really important that they're transitioning over to our recipes that match what's on that platform, so that families can, you know, if you're a family has a diabetic child, you're getting exactly the nutritional specs that you need in order to dose for carb count, so on and so forth. So if there's any recipes that are very local, near and dear to the community, we would ask that you give those recipes over to us, and we can get those put into our platform.
But you could still use them, like if you do a catering event after school hours for the Rotary or the athletic department, those recipes don't have to be USDA compliant. So we could
Correct.
still use, okay.
They could
Yeah.
still remain at the school.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah,
Although-
absolutely.
Yeah, don't throw anything away.
So the spaghetti supper, right? Is that what you're
Yeah,
referring
chili,
to?
chili supper, yeah.
Chili supper,
Yeah.
my apologies. Yes, the chili supper, we'll make sure if there is a passed down recipe, we will make sure that we honor that if that's what you want us to do.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
So as far as snacks that the kids buy extra,
A la carte?
is that still gonna be there? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Might look a little different, right? We might have different offerings than you currently do, but
Okay.
it's still, we still have to comply with the smart snack compliance. So,
Correct, yeah.
Yep.
But beverages, chips, you know, all,
Okay,
you know, all the smart snack
yes.
options. Yes, ma'am. Yep, ice cream.
Every kid's.
We also want to follow your wellness policy. So that's the other thing too, is that that's part of what we do. We come in, we read your policies, and we make sure that we're in compliance with all of your policies.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. We have a recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll approve.
And do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? All opposed? All right. Thank you. Motion passes. And do we have any board member comments and items for future agendas? Seeing none, our future meeting will be this Thursday, July 31st, here at 6 p.m. in the Media Center. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you
Thank
very
you very